So yeah, we drink a lot of beer, and but still, even drinking the beer and smoking the weed, it didn't make me relaxed enough to do things I didn't want to do, sexually or whatever.
It didn't take away your inhibition to.
No.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I was scared. I was honestly scared to death to have sex with somebody. I did not want to do that. So
Mom and Grandma did a good job.
Yes, they did. Thank you, Mom and Grandma. I really thank you. So, life goes on. I'm in 11th grade, and I'm selling my weed, meeting my man on Friday night, and getting an ounce of weed, and I would crumble it up on my Frisbee, and I would roll as many joints as I could.
Yeah.
And then I'd take them to school Monday morning, and I was at the bleachers. I was known as the Doobie Girl. I was not the Doobie Brothers. I was the Doobie Girl. So, and I was selling them.
Yeah.
So then, this one guy came up. It was probably almost the end of 11th grade. And he wanted one, and I only had one left. And I told him, no, you cannot have the last one because it's the only one I got, and I'm having it at lunchtime.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you. You meet me out here at lunch, I'll smoke it with you, but you're not getting the whole thing.
Right.
So,
selfish.
Yeah. It was mine. So, he went back into school and was running his mouth. My daughters are getting ready to ride four-wheelers. I'm sorry. So he went into school and he was running his mouth. And we had, back when I was in high school, we had security. It wasn't actual cops walking the beat, but we had these two security guys, retired police officers, walking the hallways.
Wow.
Well, they heard him talking about this girl out there wouldn't sell me her last joint, so I can't help y'all out, blah, blah, blah. So he stood around and he heard my name. And the next day, when I came back and had re-upped and had all my joints, I sold them all. All I had was cash in my pocket. And me and two of my girlfriends, I'll keep their name private, we're walking back across the field, and Hunter, who was one of the school security guards, comes out of the door. And he says, "You three, come with me."
Oh, no.
Well, I froze in my tracks.
Yeah.
And my heart started racing. My dad was a cop at the time at Naval Weapon Station. I was scared shitless.
No.
I just knew they were going to tear me up. So I stopped. I looked back. I was ready to run. Fight or flight. I was gone.
Absolutely.
So I looked back at the baseball field and I looked back at Hunter and he said, "Don't even think about it, Bonnie. I will catch you." So I'm like, shit. So I gave in. I don't have nothing on me. I was okay. I just had cash. I was a waitress at nighttime. I made my tips.
Yeah.
So I went in the school and he searched us and whatever.
How much money did you have on you, if you don't mind me
I had
asking?
$185.
That's a lot.
I will never, for an 11th grader to have in their pocket.
Yeah.
So I made good tips, and I wasn't a stripper. No, I'm just kidding. So I went in and they searched me, and all they found was the money, and it was a lot of ones and fives.
So it would have been easier to say you were a stripper.
Yeah, right. I was still saying I was a waitress.
Yes,
I was still swearing I was a waitress. Well, my two friends that were with me, the one girl, she had nothing. She was just her little lip gloss and brush, and her name, I can't tell you. I called her Snappy Jap. So anyway, and I was Nappy Nip back then.
Oh.
It was a nickname, whatever. My dad called us that because we were we were thick as thieves, literally. But so anyway, the other girl had her little backpack, and when they searched it, she had so much shit in there, it wasn't even funny.
Oh.
It was awful. And then
probably not just weed, or was it just weed paraphernalia? Or...
Well, it was weed and a white substance I have never experienced.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay.
And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So I was scared. Well, then the assistant principal came in and he asked Hunter, "Do you want me to call the cops? Or how are we going to do this?" I was scared to death. I did not want to call the cops. I did not want to go to jail. I was so terrified.
And your dad?
And my dad was a police officer at Naval Weapon Station. And who Shirley would have heard because he was friends with Newport News cops.
That's what I was going to say. And this is back in the day whenever... And you were, back in those days, your parents would discipline you. So even if you got in trouble at school and there was punishment, there was still consequences whenever you went home.
Oh, definitely.
Right. So you're like, and you're probably more scared of dad
than I was my mom. Yes, definitely. So they called our parents, and they called my dad. So I'm sitting in the office and I'm waiting. I'm the only one crying. I am crying, scared to death, because I know I'm going to get my ass tore up when I get home.
Right.
I know I am. So I'm scared to death. The other two were just sitting there like, oh, it's just another day. Well, when their dads showed up first, and they left, and my dad took his time getting there. The longer you wait, the more it hurts, right?
Yes.
So
oh my gosh, because you're
anticipation and So my dad shows up in his uniform, and
he probably went home to get changed.
He was at work, so
Okay.
yeah. To be fair, so I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, dear God, please help me get out of this one.
Yeah.
So he walks in and he looks at me, and the assistant principal had come out at his door, and he looked at my dad and he said, "Are you here for who?" He said, "I was called to come and pick my daughter Bonnie up." And he said, that principal looked right at me and he said, "How could you disrespect your father's uniform?" And it kind of hurt. It hurt because I wasn't looking at it as disrespecting him in any
you're
way.
a kid. You're a teenager.
Yeah, I'm doing my thing. I was making good money.
Yes.
And
look, Dad, I have a job.
Yeah, right. So little did he know.
Right.
So we went in his office, and my dad said, "So what is her trouble going to be? What's happening?" And he said, "I'm suspending her for 2 weeks, and I had to go to a drug counseling class every day for 2 weeks." And it talked about that stuff. It talked about marijuana. It talked about cocaine. It talked about all the stuff back then, Quaaludes and LSD stuff I never heard of.
Right.
So
now it's an education class.
It
here
is,
you are
it's teaching me stuff I'd never heard of, and I'm like, damn, really? It doesn't.
I can do all that too.
Yeah.
What do you mean
Right,
that one
right.
gets out of my system faster? Yeah.
And liquor's quicker, and yeah. So I did my 2 weeks of the class, but back up a little bit. When I got sent out of the school for 2 weeks, the principal wanted to spank me because back then they had corporal punishment, and my dad said, "No, you don't put your hands on her. If you have a problem with her, you
It's
call me.
It's very progressive of your father.
I will take her and I will discipline her." We got a paddle at home named Fred, and her name's all over it. It truly was.
My grandma had a paddle that we all used to sign whenever our parents would. Yeah, so my name was on a paddle.
I was going to say, our name, me, my sister, I had 2 sisters and a brother, and they were all good kids. But I was the black sheep, for real. So all our names were in the list on this paddle, and every time we got our butt whipped, it got a tick mark beside it. And mine went all the way across the paddle and down on the second row. It was terrible. But
how were you? Let me just ask, how were you in school aside from doing your side hustle? Like, were your grades? Were you attentive? Did you show up? Did it matter?
I did. I showed up, and I did like school. I liked school a lot, actually. I still did my thing because I was trying to be the good girl. And in mom and dad's eyes, I couldn't bring home a bad report card. Okay. I would get tore up.
Yeah.
So I did focus on my studies. My friends would skip school and they'd go to the beach and go hang out, and I'm like, no, I can't skip. I cannot skip.
Nice.
Yeah, but you got all the weed. No, well, that's too bad. You just meet me at lunch and okay.
Right. You'll know where to find me. I'm at the bleachers.
Yeah. So I was trying to like flying right under the radar. Yeah. I was having my fun, but trying to be a good girl. Okay. Because of my mom and dad.
Right.
So anyway, we when we left the school, I was suspended 2 weeks. I had to go to drug class, and we get in the car, and I am crying. I am not sobbing crying, okay? I am
that ugly crying.
I just know. So my dad looks over at me, and he said, "We're gonna keep this from your mother." Oh. And I'm like, how are we gonna keep it from mom?
Yeah.
Because she gets up and wakes us up for school. He said, and you're going to get up and you're going to get ready for school like you're going to school. I had to be there to the drug class at 9 o'clock. Okay. My sister was graduated already, still living at home. Okay. So she was going to give me the ride to drug class. But I was getting up and getting dressed like I was going to school when actually she was driving me down by Riverside Hospital on J. Clyde Morris. And so I'm shocked, and I'm looking at him like, why are we going to tell mom?
Right.
And it would have killed my mom. My mom was very straight-laced. She never drank. She never smoked. She never cussed. Instead of saying, son of a you-know-what, she would say, son of a beach nut chewing gum. Cheese and crackers, why did you do that?
I say cheese and crackers.
And it was okay, though. It was good. But my mom was so straight-laced. And maybe that's why. We never told her.
Yeah, that's...
It was our...
But Dad had more experience being in the military. And I mean, that's a whole different life.
And he'd been there. Yeah. My dad, when he came home, he was in Vietnam in his early years of the military. He did 3 tours. Wow. And when he came home, his final tour, it was in 1969. and I was 3 years old. And he came home, and when he came home, he was addicted to heroin. And I didn't know. I mean, I was a young little girl.
Right, you're 3.
And my oldest sister, my one sister's older than me by 2 years, 2.5, almost 3. And she would never get close to him at first. But I did. I was daddy's girl. I was daddy's girl for as long as I can remember. But he went through some stuff when he came home.
So he understood. So you,
yes.
Little did you know, you were predispositioned with the condition.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, but I didn't know. So then,
you get ready for school.
I get ready for school, doing my thing. My sister takes me, drops me off. But my dad when he said we're not going to tell Mom, I was like, okay, I'm getting away with this one.
Yeah.
My mom would have I'd have been on her list forever, okay?
Yeah.
So he asked me, he said, don't you have tickets to see Aerosmith? And then another one after that to go to AC/DC? And I'm like, yeah. He said, where are they at? I said, they're in my wallet. He said, let me see them. So I take my tickets out. And back then, going to a concert, you probably pay, if it was a good concert, like Aerosmith and AC/DC were, I paid, I think, $35. So it was $70 for both of those tickets. And I had 4 because I paid for the ticket for my boyfriend.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had a job, right?
Yeah. So, you were a waitress.
Yeah, that's what I was. So I showed him the tickets, and he ripped them up and threw them out the window. What are you doing? But he didn't beat my butt yet. So I'm like, oh, okay. But I did cry because I was upset. I didn't get to go to concerts for a year after that.
That's tough.
And I missed a lot of good ones. I missed AC/DC, I missed Aerosmith, Def Leppard, Journey, a lot.
Gosh.
All right.
Oh.
So, but
what I wouldn't give to go to those
I know,
concerts.
right? But he never whipped my butt when I got home. He didn't ground me. None of it. He just, I was suspended
worse,
and I had to
right?
go. It was.
I mean, oh my gosh.
I had to go to the drug class, and that was ordered by the school.
Right.
And but he didn't ground me or do anything other punishment. But it was punishment enough to ground me from concerts.
Yeah.
Not let me go.
Yeah.
I couldn't see my boyfriend. There was none of this to happen. I was at home. I went to school and I was home.
Well,
I went to drug class and was home. Mom dies. I was at school.
Yeah.
So that went on for that 2 weeks. Well, my dad was supposed to take me back to school, and he didn't. And they called him, and he said, why do I have to take her to school? I picked her up. I knew she was suspended, and she's there. So they let it slide, and I was at school. But missing that 2 weeks was a crucial time because that's when we're studying and getting ready for the end of the
semester
year exam and all
yep,
that.
Yep.
So I didn't do great for my exams at the end of the school year because I kind of just got high and I didn't care.
Yeah.
It was bad. My grades slipped. My mom was like, what's wrong? Why are your grades slipping? I had straight C's. And I was doing A's and B's and everything. Right. So I just told her, I said, I don't know. I said, I'm just not getting it and whatever. But really, I was partying and drinking, and that was my fun thing. But I still wasn't skipping school. So I went through the summer, and I got to 12th grade. And in 12th grade, I made B's and C's. Them classes that I really hated, like government, I couldn't stand government. And I was by the skin of my butt getting out of there. So the end of 12th grade came, and I failed government by 1 point on my exam.
Oh, that's the worst.
And my teacher would not give me that point to save my life. I told her I would write an essay.
Yeah.
Nothing. I wasn't passing. So
I'd rather fail by a bunch than by a little.
Oh, yeah.
It's the worst.
It was 1 point. And she made it clear that I did that.
Oh.
So I was so upset. So that, I didn't get to march with my class. They told me I could come back and march with class of 86. Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
At that time, who wants to do that? So I didn't. I went to summer school. I had to pay for it myself because I had a job. And my dad told me, if you want to go to summer school, you could go to summer school and take government and get your diploma, or you can wait and go next year, but I'm not paying for you to go to summer school. He refused.
Well,
so
because he knew.
Yeah.
He
knew. So I paid for it. It was $125 for me to take one class in summer school.
It was more expensive than a concert.
So I go into summer school in the class, and it's Mrs. my government teacher from the high school.
No.
It was awful. But I passed. I got a D in summer school. It was awful. It was terrible. But I got my diploma. I didn't march. I didn't go back the next year and march. It was whatever. So my my senior summer, I really partied. I was throwing down and partying. I drank every day, drank beer. I didn't really care for liquor. I drank beer and I smoked weed and I started experiencing other things. So I did LSD twice. And I can count it because it scared the shit out of me. The first time was okay. It was like groovy, wow, you know.
Yeah.
The second time I did it, it was a bad trip. Wow. It was not good. So I was done. I was like, I ain't never doing that shit again. You guys tried to kill me, blah, blah, blah. So then I experienced the Quaaludes. Those were terrible. I mean, I did them, but they made you drunker than beer did.
Is that what it was? Like a drunk feeling?
Yes, a very drunk feeling. It was. Yeah, I didn't do a lot because it was.
That's not fun.
No, I was happy with weed.
Yeah.
So and I continued, and then I got married.
So wait a minute, back up. Is this the boyfriend from 6th grade?
No.
Okay.
We broke up. And
right. He went with that other.
He went with her. Yes. Yep. They ended up hooking up, and then I was only 19. And I got into a strip club with a girlfriend. And I had a fake ID. Yeah, I did that. And I met one of the dancers. His name was California Dreamer. Well, he was just in love with me and falling over me and whatever. But he was getting all them dollars because I had some money. Yeah. So anyways, we ended up hooking up.
Because you had a job.
And we dated for 3 years. And he was a prince. He treated me like a queen and everything was great. Well, after we got married, he thought he had ownership papers. Yes. Like, don't go to my parents so much and visit and those kind of things. I was like, whoa, shit, this is not working for me, da-da-da. So we didn't last long. We broke up, split up. And then I went back to my neighborhood, to my mom's, and partying. I had Amber, my daughter, and she was young. She was like probably a year old.
So that's Amber's father was the gentleman that thought, okay.
Yeah, the stripper. Yeah. So, yeah. She calls him something worse, but we won't go there. But so then I was determined. I told my mom, I'm never going to be married again. I'm going to do this on my own. I don't need a man to help me raise my kid. So I still drank and I still smoked weed, but I didn't do it in front of her because I didn't want to. And I did it mostly in the evenings after I gave her bath. I read her a bedtime story. I was the good mom. Yeah. And I partied after that. Right. And I wake up in the morning feeling not really good, but I did it. And then I met my husband and my second husband. So we met and I was determined. He kept wanting to take me on a date and I didn't want to go. I said, no. And he kept pursuing me, and I kept making up excuses. I got to take care of my daughter. I got to give her a bath, feed her dinner.
How did you meet him?
Actually, me and his sister were best friends. Okay. We were really good friends. So I didn't even know she had a brother.
Oh, okay. That's what
he was a fisherman, so he wasn't around a lot because he was always out on the water.
Right.
And me and his sister were tight. I knew her for a year and a half before I met her brother. And she had a cookout, and she wanted me to go to the cookout, and I went, and I had Amber, and when we were there, her brother, she introduced me to him, and he was kind of in a situation with a soon-to-be ex, kind of, if you would, and she was there, but they got in a fight, and she left, and then, yeah, it was crazy. But him and my daughter started playing, like they were kicking the ball around the yard, and and there were ducks. My sister-in-law had this swimming pool, and she had little yellow ducks in it. And I remember Amber over there playing, trying to hold them and catch them in the water. She fell in the pool like 3 times. But he was right there, and he kept picking her up, and he was playing with her. He would catch the duck and let her play. So they hit it off.
So your heart is melting too.
No, I'm trying not to though. Yes, but yes, it was.
Right.
It was. I'm like, damn, dude,
yep.
Really? So my sister-in-law wanted him to go to the store to get ice for the coolers or whatever it was, and Amber wanted to go with him, but I didn't want to let her go with him.
Yeah, well, you didn't know him. Yeah, I mean,
and she had already been snatched out of my yard by her real father. and it was not good. He had her for a long time, a month before I got her back. It was rough. So I was very protective of her. Where she was, if I went anywhere, she was with me. If kids couldn't come, I didn't go. That kind of thing. So when he wanted to take her to the store with him, I was like, yeah, she'll be here when you come back. We're not going anywhere, but you go ahead. And the store was right across the street from the neighborhood. It was right there.
But that's not the point.
I was like, yeah. And Amber, of course, she's sitting there, Mommy, he's a nice guy. It's okay. We can just go and get some ice. And he's going to buy me candy. It's like, oh, Jesus, really? And his sister's like, Bonnie, it's fine. You can let him take her. He's going to bring her back. Because this was all fresh. It had just happened.
And she knew. And
yeah.
she knew what had happened.
Yes,
where the trauma was.
Yeah, because she was with me every day. It was terrible. But so I gave in. And I said, okay. He took her. They went and they came back. And then they hung out and they played frisbee and they played catch with the ball. They had a good time.
Did she get her candy?
She got her candy. A whole brown bag full of candy. And when I'm thinking, oh my God.
She's staying with you tonight.
Yeah, you're right. She's spending the night with Aunt Linda because that's what she called her. That was his sister. Oh. And so anyway, she had her candy. She was happy, and he was her best friend after that.
So